Township Board of Education will now come to order.
Ready?
Okay, we do not have our student board members here this evening, so I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gorski, roll call, please.
Ms. Arminio.
Here.
Mr. Braverman. Ms. DeMayo.
Here.
Mr. Kaufman. Mrs. Koloponowicz. Mr. Nostine.
Here.
Mr. Poi.
Here.
Mr. Prezioso.
Present.
Mr. Ryback.
Here.
Mr. Zarneski.
Here.
Mr. Board President, you have a quorum present this evening. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Monroe Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted July 17th, 2015 at all schools, the Home News Tribune, Cranberry Press, and filed with the clerk of the municipality.
Thank you, Mr. Gorski. Normally, we would have our student board members report at this time, but being that we are on summer break for them, we will have no such report. And we will proceed to Dr. Alvich for a report on our AVID program.
Good evening. I am here this evening with Dr. Michelle Critelli from the Monroe Township High School. She's the AVID coordinator and the district director for AVID, and Mr. James Higgins, who is the AVID coordinator at the middle school. So we're here this evening. We're going to share with you information about the AVID program and some data of where our students who graduated in 2014 and where they are as they're entering their second year out of high school. And some of the financials for the AVID program. So what is AVID? AVID is a school-wide readiness program. It's structured for rigorous curriculum and instructional practices. It is designed to help prepare our middle-level students for college and career readiness. So the purpose of the program is to improve our students' critical thinking, their reading, their writing skills, their organizational skills, and to give them the opportunity to participate and succeed in higher level courses such as honors and AP courses throughout their high school, and to give them access and help them succeed in post-secondary work. The focus is on the students in the middle who might not otherwise reach their potential. We currently have AVID in grades 6 through 12. Our enrollment over the last 3 years since we've been in the program has increased each year. This past school year, 2014-2015, we had 253 students enrolled in the program. Other districts in the state of New Jersey that use AVID, there are currently 45 secondary sites. Grades 6 through 12 is considered a secondary site with AVID. There are currently 45 schools that participate. 3 of the ones similar to our district are Freehold Regional High School, Hazlitt High School, and Raritan High School. So we do utilize our teachers who are currently at our schools. They have been trained in the AVID processes and instructional practices. At the middle school, we have 4 teachers that cover 5 sections of AVID elective classes, and at the high school, we have 10 AVID elective teachers, 14 site team teachers, and 4 administrators who oversee the program. There are several key components that make up AVID, and all of our site team teachers and elective teachers have been trained in these different instructional practices, one of them being Cornell Notes. Cornell Notes is a way for students to organize their notes and be able to go back and reflect on what they've learned in the classroom. It's set up a certain way in their notebook so that they take notes while the teacher is, while they're in the classroom, whether the teacher is lecturing or if they're reading or whatever they're working on. On the side, they start coming up with key questions as they're thinking about their learning. And then there's kind of a summary and a reflection at the bottom. They go back and review these notes when they're preparing for tutorology, which is another piece of the program. For tutorology, we actually hire tutors. We hire college students, or even some of our seniors as part of the senior option program are hired to come in and tutor and work with our AVID students during their elective times. The students have to come to tutorology with their questions already, so they've gone back and they've reviewed all of their work. They come with a higher level question of something that they're thinking about, something that they're confused about, something that they need a little extra help with, and then the tutors work with them, grouping students together that have similar questions so that they really collaborate with each other on their thinking and on their learning. It's kind of amazing to watch them as they work through it, because they're learning from each other and really helping each other rather than the teacher giving them the answer. One of the key focuses of AVID is the instructional strategies called the WICOR strategies. WICOR stands for writing, inquiry, collaboration, reading, and organization. So there are several strategies that are taught to the teachers at the Summer Institute who come back and utilize these strategies with the students throughout the time that they're enrolled in AVID. And then there's the week at a glance, which kind of just gives you their schedule for the week. So students take the AVID elective in place of one of their other electives. So in middle school and the high school, it's every other day they meet with their AVID elective teacher. They actually, in the high school, they actually stay with the same teacher for all 4 years. And the students would stay in the same cohort with each other for all 4 years. So they really develop a great collaboration with the teachers and with the other students that they're working with. Oops, I think I went too far. What is the expected impact from AVID? By utilizing AVID in our middle school and our high school, we hope to increase the completion of the college entrance requirements to prepare our students for colleges and careers. We increase our school's offerings in rigorous courses and increase our student enrollment in those AP and honors courses. We are increasing our teaching and our instructional efficacy because not only are the AVID teachers using those strategies with the AVID students, the AVID teachers use those strategies with all students, and the AVID teachers have been wonderful with working with their teams of teachers at the middle school and high school, and they've shared out those strategies. So even a teacher that may not be trained in AVID through AVID, they have received training on the WICOR strategy. Specifically at the middle school, I know they work, and the high school, they work through their administration prep period, and they do a lot of professional development when it comes to that. And it helps to transform the school culture from college eligible to college ready. How do we determine if the program is working? We have consistently been reassessing our recruitment process. AVID does have a recruitment process that we follow, but we have changed it to meet the needs of our students and our population here. There are self-study reports that are done each year by the teams, and those self-study reports get submitted to AVID, and AVID then assesses us and tells us how we're doing. We have our AVID Senior Data Report, which I will be sharing with you this evening on the class that graduated in 2014. And we ask students to complete exit surveys as they finish the program. So why do we want college and career readiness? Will every student pursue higher education? Not necessarily, but should every student be prepared for and have the option to attend college or pursue higher education? Absolutely. So even if a student is going into a vocational technical school or the workforce, they still need these skills, and they need to have a higher reading level in order to succeed. The cost of the program. There is a program, AVID offers a Summer Institute program. The Summer Institute program is a 3-day program where teachers and administrators go to be trained in the AVID strategies and the AVID practices. The cost of the program is about $1,200 per teacher per person who's going. That is based on the registration fee, the cost of the hotel, and mileage. The closest Summer Institute Avid Summer Institute to us is Philadelphia, so there's no flight cost. It's really just a mileage fee that goes on. In the past, we've sent quite a number of teachers as we were growing the program. This year, we are sending 3 high school teachers, Dr. Critelli as the high school coordinator, and myself because now I'll be the district director once I'm trained. So there's only 5 of us going this year. So we did save and reduce our budget this year by about $20,000. There is a site membership fee for the Avid program. So we have 2 site membership fees because we have the high school and the middle school as our sites. The Avid tutors and the tutor coordinator, the total cost there is a little over $53,000. That's because that's the salaries for the tutors that come in and work with our students. Teacher salaries, for the middle school, it's 5 teachers, and because they teach the Avid elective course, they get 8.5% of their salary for that additional course that they're teaching. The high school has 10 sections and advisors, so the total cost at the high school would be about $363,200. So I broke out the total cost of the Avid program for a reason. The total cost, not including the high school salaries, is about $66,000. The total cost, including the high school salaries, is $429,344. The reason I broke that out is, even if we didn't have Avid at the high school, that $363,000 still would have to go towards teacher salaries because those students would still need to take an elective. They don't go home for that period. They would still need to take an elective, and we would still be paying teacher salaries during that time. So what, yes?
Do they get rid of the elective?
Students give up one of their electives in order to be an Avid, yes.
So that class is eliminated, that elective?
Yes, they only take 1 elective instead of 2.
But is the elective that the student takes, is that eliminated?
No, other students.
Will other students take it?
Yeah,
There's still a
I'm
teacher
not sure
teaching
of the
that
question.
elective, right?
The teachers are teaching which elective? The other
elective
electives?
that student does not go to, and it goes to Avid.
That class still exists.
The class may still
Still
exist
exists,
depending
so
on
there
what the
has to be
students are.
a teacher teaching that Avid,
That
that elective.
Right. But thinking about the number of students that are in the Avid elective class, if they weren't in the Avid elective class, they would still need to be in another elective somewhere. So why does Avid work? Because it helps raise student achievement. It ensures the college access and success. It closes the opportunity and the expectation gaps. It offers meaningful and lasting professional development. So thinking about our students and their futures, in the middle school, we use Avid as a way to help prepare our students for their higher level classes in high school. So it really is a feeding program for the Avid program at the high school. We prepare students to be more independent and more self-reliant. They're really thinking about their own education. Oops, sorry. In the high school, I know this is hard to see, and I will post this presentation on the district website so that you'll have it. This is actually the data coming out of the students who graduated in 2014. So it says 30 students. There really technically were 34 students in the Avid program that graduated in June of 2014. Of those 30 students, do you have a better copy? Okay, thank you. Of those 30 students, 57 of the students did not 50% of those students had parents who did not graduate from a college or university, 20% were on free or reduced lunch, and 7% were English language learners. And you see the breakdown. There is a chart up there of the breakdown of races of the students that were involved.
So, Dory?
Yes.
It's hard for me to see it, but I couldn't, it says 57%, 20%. Did you address that? Or?
Yes, 57% of the parents did not graduate college or a university. So these are
Avid students?
of the Avid students. Yes, this information is just about the Avid students. 90% of the 30, well, it says 30 here, not 34, students were applied for a 4-year college, 80% were accepted into a 4-year college, and 53% submitted a FAFSA. The information down at the bottom basically talks about what their post-secondary enrollment and persistence is. As of right now, we don't have those numbers from Avid, but I do have them for you. So these are the students that graduated in 2014. So of the 34 students that graduated in 2014, Avid students, 19 of them attended a 4-year college. 11 of them entered a 2-year college. 2 entered the workforce, and 1 entered a VOTEC school. 1, there was a medical deferral because of an injury. What Dr. Critelli's office has gathered from these students, they reached out to them again to see where they are. Of those students, of those 19 students that entered a 4-year college, 17 of them are continuing into their 2nd year at the 4-year college. 1 of them has transferred to a 2-year college, and 1 has left college and entered the workforce. Of the students that entered a 2-year college, there were 11. Continuing into their 2nd year of the 2-year college, 10 of them, and 1 has entered the workforce. So it definitely shows that those students are continuing with their education into that 2nd year, so they were successful their 1st year of college. Okay, we do have a short video to show from some of our students. Oh, he's got it for me. He'll save me the walk. Thank you.
AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. This program teaches skills and behaviors for academic success that develop a student's critical thinking, literacy, organization, and collaborative skills in an effort to close the achievement gap, thus making college access and success available to all students. AVID is not just another program. At its heart, AVID is a philosophy that holds students accountable to the highest standards and provides academic and social support so that all students will rise to the challenge. One of AVID's components is tutorology. Tutors from area colleges and universities are trained to use specific methodologies and material to work with our AVID students. Tutors use collaborative learning techniques to help students come up with the answers to their questions on their own, through peer interaction and collaboration.
Well, tutorology is basically, it's a session where you get up and you ask a question, which is like a point of confusion.
So we sit in little groups and then we talk about that question. There's one student presenter on the board who asks the question what you are unfamiliar with.
And your peers who are sitting with you would ask you questions to help you get to the answer. They wouldn't really just answer the question for you. You'd have to build up to it. It helped me to understand that if you're in a class, you should really be asking for help and asking questions, and that's gonna help you succeed in the future.
College processes and procedures is another big part of the program. AVID elective teachers and AVID counselors provide a variety of resources to support students through the college search and application process. This begins with academic resume writing support, where students are guided in gathering the information and data points for a successful future college application.
My teacher had us just go through our memory banks and see everything that we've done over the high school years, such as maybe clubs or sports or any other after-school activity that might interest a college in looking at you.
Making sure that you have a sustainable amount of community service hours, volunteer work, honors classes they do look at.
He showed us examples of people's resumes that they've turned into colleges, and then based off that model, we constructed our own.
Going back through a few years was challenging, like the volunteer hours and the work that I put in to go back, because I haven't kept track of it. So doing it early in 10th grade helped me.
AVID also assists students in choosing and applying to college. This includes presentations by college representatives, campus visits and college fairs, as well as assistance with completing applications, financial aid support, and scholarship information.
The focus, I think, is pretty much trying to get as many college acceptances as possible, because we really want to see that school that's the best fit for us for our future if we do decide to go on to college.
AVID helped us with the college essays and organization and how to outline and do college materials.
Honestly, if I weren't in the AVID program, I wouldn't have spent as much time as I did trying to revamp my essay, trying to make sure it was the best that it could be. And also, I feel that AVID gives us a lot of resources financially, like how to locate the FAFSA form and how to have access to different scholarship opportunities like the senior awards.
Our teachers help us out by giving us websites that we could utilize, information centers and things like that, so we could help us out. So you have an easier way of going to the websites and learning how to use them.
So AVID kind of like focuses on both financial needs and as well as how to communicate our ideas so that we can have our voice out there, as well as have a chance to fuel ourselves financially for our academic endeavors.
AVID students participate in a number of community service initiatives. Through community service, students become productive citizens and create connections within and outside our community. They also gain experience that will broaden their horizons and introduce them to professions that may interest them in the future. Here are a few AVID students sharing their experience.
How did the experience change the way you view your community?
It's an eye-opener of what you have and they don't, because we're all lucky to have what we have.
If you don't have a giving heart, then you're not going to be a great giver. Like, it doesn't mean anything if you're not willing to give it. And a lot of volunteers really do have giving hearts, and I think that's really important and special when you do it.
You get to be part of it. You get to be part of the bigger picture and part of the whole. You get the feeling of helping others and helping less fortunate, seeing that you have advantages in life that other people don't.
I always wanted to go into like a industry where I could like help people. Like I've considered the Peace Corps and like some way of giving back, because like I know that like it's kind of a rough world, so if you could make it better in any way or help someone's day in any way, it's really important.
I see in my future that I need to do like much more of this, such as while I'm in college, I'll keep focusing on helping people like in community services around me. So basically saying wherever I'll be, I'll want to be helping.
Well, I mean, I feel like the strategies that I learned in AVID are really going to help me succeed in high school and in college.
We're able to collaborate with each other on multiple things, whether it be tutorology or reflections on articles or homework.
Once I found AVID, then I kind of became a leader in the class, and then my grades have just been on the rise ever since.
Like you think it's something like that helps you get better like with school, but it's more than that. Like we've done seminars and TED Talks that help us personally, and we've really actually become a family.
And I think AVID's really helped me to push myself and do things I never thought I was able to do and excel.
Dr. Critelli and all of the AVID teachers at the high schools are responsible for putting that video together of our students and their experiences through AVID. And that's it.
I'd like to thank you on behalf of the board, Dr. Alvich, as well as, is it Dr. or Mr. Higgins? I'm not certain.
Oh, just Mr. Higgins.
Oh, okay, Mr. Higgins and Ms. Critelli, because I know you're all involved in this. I want to commend you for this report. I thought it was very comprehensive. I thought it was very detailed. I think it provided us with just the kind of information that the board has been looking for in terms of this program. I was very, very impressed with what I heard. I'm sure there are some questions that members of the board may have, and it will be helpful if you could send us or make available that report, because some of the information, it was difficult for us to read it from the slides.
I'll post it on the website, but I'll also send it to all of you.
But the video was excellent. I don't know if you shared that with the national organization or not, but I thought it was an excellent video, very well done. I was very impressed with the way the students expressed themselves, just extremely impressed. And I must say I was very, very happy to hear, in my opinion, based on the data that you presented, it would seem that AVID, certainly for the class of 2014, is accomplishing exactly what we wanted it to do, because such a high percentage of those students that were in the AVID program did go on and finish that first year of college, and that's really what we're trying to do with that program. So thank you so much for that program. I don't know if anyone on the board has questions presently.
I do.
Ms. DeMeo?
When the students enter AVID in the middle school, they're expected to continue through high school, correct?
Yes, but they can opt out. We have had some students that have opted out of the
And
program.
that was my next question. How many decide not to continue?
A small percentage each year, speaking just
Here,
for the middle
speak
school,
in the mic.
it might be 1 or 2. And we do have conversations with the students and the parents to make sure they're opting out for the right reasons
Okay.
before we just let them go.
And I know it's hard to measure, but do you see an increase in student self-esteem throughout the years?
Yes, absolutely. And it's just
The mic.
Oh, sorry. It's really awesome to watch the students grow from freshman year to senior year, and to see the difference in all that they do and how they feel about the program. And every time we listen to seniors, I mean, I could just cry listening to them, because it really has had such an impact on so many levels and in so many ways. And, you know, that's what we want to do. You know, we want to make that difference, and we want them to be successful in whatever they do. But in particular, you know, because there is that concern with once they leave high school, how successful will they be once they get to college? And we know that in many cases, students are not. We want to make sure that we give them those strategies, and not just academic. You heard them talk about community service and giving back, but it's the whole student. So, and they're going to make a difference and be able to contribute to whether it's the workforce or the military or college, and that's what we want. We want them to have those strategies so that they feel good about themselves and they can feel that success and know what it feels like.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Arminio?
Could you just explain a little bit of the criteria for admission into the AVID program? What students do you encourage to?
We do it based on a recommendation of either from our teams or the 5th grade teachers. There's a national rubric that we use. It's based on, it was NJS scores, I'm sure it's going to convert to Park. It's based on their benchmarks in math and language arts. It's based on conduct. It's based on free and reduced lunch. It's based on parents who went to college, and this is all tabulated, and each student gets a quantitative score, and that's how we decide who gets in and who doesn't. It's all quantitative. I'm sorry?
Interview?
Yes, and there is an interview process. They come with an interview. I know at the middle school we ask them to bring one object that they're proud of to see their speaking skills, so they might bring in a trophy, something they made, and they speak on it, and there's an interview committee. So the students start to see, even at the 6th grade level, you come prepared for an interview.
So it's an in-house or in-district decision? Can a parent come to a teacher and ask for consideration?
We'll always take a parent recommendation for an interview with no promises, but we always take an interview.
Mr. Prezioso?
What are the sizes of these classes? What's the largest and the smallest classes?
At the middle school this year, I believe the smallest class was 18 students, the largest was 23 or 24.
Mr. Nothstein?
At the high school, it was 23 was our largest class, and 14 was our smallest.
That's with one instructor, right?
Yes.
Mr. Nothstein?
Thank you very much for the great presentation. I noticed that obviously this first group, the 30, that was the first full group that went through this. Is that accurate? No. So where did this 30 number come from? That was
the class that graduated in 2014.
right. And so basically, that's the largest class so far to graduate from the AVID program. Would you say?
This past June 2015, we had 35 students graduate. But obviously, we don't have data on those students yet.
I see that the increase every year from of the students entering AVID. Do we see that trend continuing, or are we going to cap it at a certain level? And if we do cap it, are we assured of meeting the needs of the students?
We do have to cap There is no cap. We can continue to do it, and we can continue to add students. It would just be making sure that we had the capacity of the staff to cover it.
Do you feel that the 253 for 2015, do you feel that we had to turn some away, or that that was a good indicator of what we wanted?
If we turned any away, it wasn't because of capacity. It was because we felt at that time they weren't the right fit. When we interview and go through the process, if we feel this is just going to put an unnecessary burden on a student, regardless of how badly they want to go in, we may not accept them, but we do invite them to interview for the next year. So if we didn't take them, it wasn't for capacity, it was more that it wasn't the right fit for the student.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Arminio?
It sounds like the program is excellent and that you do a good job and it's really good for the children. My uneducated question is, if it's such a good program, can it be brought into, and you did mention it in the presentation, that the teachers do take these skills and use them on a broader level with all the students, but if for the most part we have a middle range of children, isn't it something that the whole school should, we should use for the whole school?
The goal of this program is to expand it school-wide, so that's always our focus. So in the AVID elective class, within the AVID program, we talked about through the PowerPoint the number of sight team teachers. So if I'm a language arts teacher, I may not be an AVID elective teacher, but I volunteered to be a sight team teacher. So I will have some AVID students in my class, but I'll also have other students in my class, and because I've been trained as an AVID sight team teacher, I will use those strategies, and that's how we start to expand strategy school-wide. And then many members of our site team have offered PD to our staff, which has been really nice, and this is something that we want to continue to do. So there are different ways to expand it so that there are more students that are exposed to a lot of the strategies that we use in the classroom.
Just a second question on that. I mean, and I was hoping that that could be done without additional cost. I mean, my point is not so much to have the cost of AVID be expanded, but to have the strategies of AVID and the teaching, the quality of teaching to be expanded. I mean, at some point, it would seem to me that the strategies can be used by everyone if they're that good without having the absolute cost of it as a separate entity.
Right, so instead of having 8 AVID elective classes, which would increase that cost, our numbers are lower with the AVID elective, but the AVID elective class in and of itself is a real bonus. But we want to take advantage of the strategies that we do have so that we can expand it to the rest of our students and to our staff. So we continue to look at ways to do that because those are the strategies that will help them to obtain that success that we want them to have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, the floor will be open to the first public forum. Anyone wishing to speak in the first forum must speak on items that are contained in the agenda. If you come to the microphone, please state your name, your address, and restrict your comments to 3 minutes or less. All comments should be directed to the presiding officer, who in this particular case would be myself. No comments should be directed to individual board members, and individual board members are also expected not to respond. So at this time, do we have anyone that would like to speak up to the agenda during our first public forum? Okay, seeing no movement from the audience here, we will then close that and move on to the approval of the minutes. I move that we approve the Public Board of Education minutes for the meeting of April 27th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Okay, then I move that we approve the minutes of the closed session meeting of April 27th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone to recuse? Right. I move that we approve the minutes of the special board meeting of May 5th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay, I move that we approve the minutes of the closed session meeting of May 5th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not sure if I went to that meeting.
May 5th.
The closed session?
Would you like to second that? I believe your hand is up. Thank you. All right, so once again, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Abstentions? Recusal?
I was.
You were there? Okay. All right, at this time, we will hear any committee reports or any committees to report out. Mr. Nostine?
Yes, the Finance Committee met on Tuesday, July 14th at 6:30. We discussed the sale of the instructional equipment, the bid results from the iPads. Mr. Gorski provided the committee members with a bid tabulation sheet delineating the results of the public bid for the sale of 1,800 used iPad units and 175 MacBooks. The recommended award-winning bid was CDI Corp. For $271,589.75. This bid exceeded the $250,000 bid amount that we were looking for in the budget, and the Finance Committee recommended the acceptance of this bid award. I believe there was only one bidder. That's accurate. We also discussed lease purchasing financing bid results. Mr. Gorski presented a bid tabulation sheet for the lease purchase financing bid results. The bid of financing of monies for an approximate purchase of $660,000 worth of buses, van, instructional copy machines, and other instructional equipment contained and approved within the 15-16 budget. The recommended award was to the low bidder U.S. Bank, which offered us an interest rate of 1.683% for a 5-year lease, and the committee recommended the award to the U.S. Bank. We also discussed the musical equipment trailer transportation / cost share with Musical Parents Association. Mr. Gorski informed the committee members of the expiration of 2 band buses known as Goldie and Barney. These buses were retired student passenger buses which were renovated to transport instructional band equipment. Mr. Gorski recommended the trade-in of these buses for salvage value and the replacement of both with one larger trailer designed to carry such band equipment. The trailer will be pulled by a district pickup truck to and from the competitions at an approximate cost of $9,600 to $15,000. Mr. Gorski will solicit a contribution from the Musical Parent Association towards this purchase. The committee members recommend the course of action as described above. And it was the actual suggestion of Mr. Griffin to go with this different mode of transportation, since it actually makes more sense from a loading situation. The bid threshold qualified purchasing agent, we've increased, Mr. Gorski introduced a resolution to increase the bid threshold from $36K to $40K and the quote threshold from $5,400 to $6K. And this authorized the increased limits defined by the governor in consultation with the state treasurer. The committee recommended supporting this resolution. And there was one final item. It was a non-agenda item. We decided, with a suggestion of President Poi, that the committee would consider a cost review of instructional programs and services contained within the budget on an ongoing and perpetual basis at the Finance Committee level. Programs and services that may be deemed inefficient will then be examined in more detail at the Curriculum Committee level and possibly the full board level. The committee recommended such action, and Mr. Gorski will examine the mandated extended school year program for the next meeting, which has not yet been determined. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Nostine. Mr. Ryback?
Well, the Curriculum Committee met this evening. There are 3 items. I'd just like to segment them just to make things a little easier. First one is a source of great pride for the district. It's concerning the marching band. Our marching band was invited to perform at the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor in December of 2016. It is a tremendous honor because we will be representing not only the state of New Jersey, but all the veterans of the USS New Jersey at this event. With that in mind, Mr. President, I'd like to propose a motion. It's recommended that the Monroe Township Board of Education approve the participation of the Monroe Township High School Marching Band in the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor Memorial Parade on December 7th, 2016 in Honolulu, Hawaii. There shall be no cost to the board with the exception of the cost of bus transportation to and from a local airport.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Questions? Mr. Nostine?
Is there a nurse required to go with that? I believe that's usually an additional cost.
Yes, and that was included, right, Dr. Aldrich?
The nurse would be included as one of the chaperones of the trip, and that would be included in the cost to the students.
Arminio?
Who's paying for the cost? How is the cost being paid?
The Band Parents Association will be doing various fundraisers, I understand, between now and this is December of 2016, so they have almost a year and a half, but they did not want to proceed with doing anything until they had the board sanction to proceed with that. So the band parents will be raising the money. There may be some costs because they may not be able to cover the total cost. So individual students may have to, or their families may have to pay for the difference. But the only cost, as the resolution read, the only cost to the Board of Education is essentially the type of cost we have with a field trip of transporting the students to and from the airport.
But, and a nurse, right?
The nurse cost would be included as one of the chaperones, which is included in the student cost.
And, I had another question, but it. Insurance. Does our insurance coverage cover the students on this trip?
With the successful approval of this action item, it would be a school-sponsored event. All school-sponsored events are covered by our insurance.
Do particular ones like this require an additional premium?
No.
So this is covered on our,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Nostine?
Are school board members allowed to go on this?
I think Steve
Mr.
volunteered
Ryback
to
beat
be
you on
the.
How long is the trip, Doug?
It's December.
It's 4 days. It's a 4-day trip.
Will it be televised? Will we have somebody taking a?
I could check with the band director and see
it
if there's
would-
something we can do with that.
I'm
I'm sure a parent who goes will videotape it and post it on Facebook. So.
Well, I mean, if
But
it's,
yeah.
if we can see it, maybe we can put it on our website. It would be
Maybe show it at a meeting.
Yeah.
It's a great source of pride for
Yeah.
the school.
Yeah, okay.
I
Thank you.
have two other items.
Mr. Ryback?
No, that's okay.
Oh, are there any other questions, though, about this motion? Okay, then it has been, we have a motion to approve this trip, and it has been seconded, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, and there's no further questions or discussion? All right, then, Mr. Gorski, roll call vote?
Ms. Arminio.
Yes.
Mr. Braverman is absent. Mr. Zarneski.
Yes.
Ms. DeMayo.
Yes.
Mr. Kaufman and Mrs. Kolpanowicz are absent. Mr. Nostine.
Yes.
Mr. Prezioso. Yes. Mr. Ryback.
Yes.
Mr. Poi.
Yes.
Mr. Board President, motion to authorize the band trip as a school-sponsored event with no cost except for local transportation passes.
Thank you.
I have two other items that we did talk about this evening. The other one is the Summer Camp Academy proposal. Really, it's going to be an enrichment summer opportunity. It's about a 3-week experience for students, and it's around the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math courses. We think it's a win-win for the students as well as the district, and there's going to be some more work on it. There's still some more studying to do as far as putting it together, but I certainly like to commend Dory and for doing such a wonderful job, and it looks like it's coming together very well. The last thing we spoke about was program efficacy. Basically, we're going to be looking into some programs to see how well they're working. For example, after-school activities. not only how many students might be registered for an activity, but how many students are actually attending. So we just want to look at the success of what we're offering to make sure that it's as successful as we want it to be. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ryback. Any other committee reports? All right, before we proceed with the superintendent's report and recommendations, since this is Dr. Kozak's first official regular Board of Education monthly meeting, I am going to repeat some of the remarks that I made at the special meeting that we had, because this is being videotaped and will appear on our Channel 28, and this will help the larger community get to know you. So please bear with me as I reread some of the things that the board has heard and Dr. Kozak had heard at our previous meeting. Dr. Kozak earned his bachelor's degree from Temple University and began his teaching career in Pemberton, New Jersey. Upon earning his master's degree from Rowan University, he worked as an assistant principal and then principal of an elementary school in Runnymede. He has served as a superintendent in Clementon, Franklin Township, which is in Gloucester County, West Amwell Lambertville, which is in Hunterdon County, and most recently in Burlington Township. During this time, he earned his doctorate from Rowan University. Dr. Kozak is married and has 3 children. He has 27 years' experience in public school education, and during that time, he has been involved in regionalizing 4 communities in South Hunterdon County into a K-12 district, initiating collaborations with Lehigh University, the College of New Jersey, Drexel University, ExxonMobil, Lockheed Martin, and the Mid-Atlantic Research Educational Laboratory, which provided valuable resources for students and staff in those districts. Collaborating with an Ed Foundation in one of his districts to implement a one-to-one iPad initiative. Also creating a STEAM, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics focus, robotics team, and Cisco certification programs. And finally, Dr. Kozak is a strong advocate of using data to inform educational programs and decisions. So as president of the Monroe Township Board of Education, I'm honored to introduce Dr. Kozak, our new superintendent, and we look forward to working with him in the coming years in our district, and we know that he will help us to make this even a stronger and better educational community. So at this time, Dr. Kozak.
Thank you, Mr. President, and the entire Board of Education. I would just like to just briefly state that it is my honor and privilege to serve as a superintendent with this dedicated and committed Board of Education, to work within a distinguished school district, both the Monroe Township School District and the Jamesburg School District, and with the students, staff, and this outstanding community. I've had the pleasure of meeting our leadership team and many of the staff, and I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the staff and the students in September. With that, I would just like to go through a few other items in the agenda, and again, thank you. The first item that I would like to bring to your attention is on your agenda you have the enrollment for the school district, and there was one change in the high school that is noted. There's an asterisk there. It was just one from 2065 to 2066. If you look at the last column, the difference between 2014 and 2015 is an additional 180 students, and we are expecting 267 additional students to be coming into the district in September. That's
how many?
Yes.
How many elementary coming in for the first time? Do you know?
I do not know, but I can certainly find out the answer. How many, you're asking for how many elementary, like at the kindergarten?
First timers.
First-time students?
Yeah.
I would think the whole 102 or 267, but I will certainly find out.
September? This September?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe so.
Doctor, you may recall, members have probably seen that number and are familiar with it from the budget presentation. Our demographer calculated and predicted 267 new students for the 15-16 school year, and that's on a net basis. That's graduating students plus new coming in. So as Dr. Kozak said, the majority of that is new.
Elementary school students coming into the school. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do we know how many students registered for kindergarten this year?
I believe, I think we do have that information. I have to look, find that information, but,
We'll know better by August, correct?
yes.
Maybe in the August?
Sure, absolutely.
That would,
Yeah.
Because anything can happen, I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't be speaking. Mr. Poy, I apologize. May I? No, seriously.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll stop if you want me to. There may be more between now and August anyway, right? At this point, and even maybe between now and September.
Yes, my experience in, certainly not this district, but in other districts, is that we will have, we've held kindergarten registrations in the springtime, only to find out that a number of students have moved in during the summer, and we kind of plan for expected increases in enrollment in that late August timeframe.
Okay, thank you.
I would also like to note a couple items that on the agenda. Section Q, under board action items, there was a question regarding the team leaders, and I just received the question in the past day or so. I do not have the answer on that yet, but I will certainly find out. There are some administrators on vacation. So respectfully, I would ask that I can provide that information at a later time. Also, items S, T, and U are approved at the instructional rate per the contract. I believe this is a correction from a previous agenda. So these items are being, this is just a correction. Under section HH, there are 2 leave replacement teachers that we interviewed and offered a position to for leave replacements, and they just recently have rescinded their acceptance because they were able to accept full-time positions in another school district. Number 16, under HH. I just wanted to note that there's a reduction of 10 days in the summer. It's noted in the agenda in that, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And number 22, unfortunately, this was a teacher who was interviewed in June and I believe approved at the June board meeting as a high school physics teacher, and we found out late this afternoon, has contacted us and said that he is not interested in taking the position. He was offered a position in another school district at a substantial increase for what we could offer. As you know, high school physics teachers are difficult to get, so unfortunately, I would ask that number 22 be omitted under section HH.
Agendas are different, right?
Right, there was a correction. So it's on the latest agenda, is it
Yes, just cross it out.
22?
Yes, under HH, number 22, please. And under section II, number 2, there's a reference to Mecca, which no longer exists. This was simply a correction in the salary. There was also a question G in that section for the media coordinators, and that position was abolished. So the resolution is the creation of the position, and that's so that a person can be transferred from one position, I believe it's the high school to the elementary school. And that has to do with the number of books that are basically circulated. There is more at the high school. There seems to be a little bit more online. More at the elementary school. Seems to be a little bit more online at the high school. So it's a transfer at no additional cost from an existing media coordinator to that elementary school. But since legally, since the board abolished that position at a previous board meeting, that's why the wording is the creation of, to allow for that transfer. And with that, that was all the explanations I have for the existing agenda items. So for Mr. Board President and the members of the Monroe Township Board of Education, it is recommended that personnel action items A through II be approved by consent roll call.
Second.
With the exception of number 22. Thank you, Mr. Gorski.
Second.
Second, Ryback. Any questions or discussion?
Sorry, I
Ms.
spoke
Arminio?
out of turn before. I do have a question about G. G was, and correct me, because I don't recollect, it was abolished as a position in the elementary school? So now we're reestablishing it as a position?
Are we talking about the...
G, on G, recommended the position of elementary media coordinator.
I think that's under the board action,
Okay.
which he's not yet addressing.
Okay.
He's addressing personnel items A through II.
Since he mentioned it, I thought we were on that. Okay, sorry.
Any other questions or discussion of personnel items A through II?
Yes.
Ms.
Could you
Arminio?
explain B and H? Are they the same person? Personnel for B and H?
Yes. It is the same person, and it...
Someone rescinding the retirement, or is it a?
Right. There was a medical leave that this person was on, so the first for letter B is to accept the resignation due to retirement, and letter H is she returned to work prior to June 30th.
Oh,
So that's from the medical leave. So we have to approve, if somebody goes out on a medical leave, if they return before their official date of retirement,
oh,
I'm asking the board to approve that.
okay. So, but that person then will be retired after this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Gorski, roll call vote.
Ms. Arminio,
Yes.
Mr. Zarneski,
Yes.
Ms. DeMayo,
Yes.
Mr. Nostine,
Yes.
Mr. Prezioso,
Yes.
Mr. Ryback.
Yes.
Mr. Coy.
Yes.
Mr. Board President, personnel items A through II, with the exception of number 22, passes.
Thank you.
For board action, to answer your question about G, yes. That was what I was just talking about a minute ago with the wording of that is the creation of that elementary media coordinator, because to my understanding, that position, not the person, but a position was abolished at a previous
Right.
board meeting. So to allow us to transfer someone into that elementary school, we have to word it as the creation of that position again, to allow the transfer. And again, at no additional cost, it's just moving a person from one building to another.
From,
If it's,
Mr. Board President, if we're moving one so we're moving one person from the high school to the elementary school?
I believe it is a high school.
So in a sense, we're eliminating that one person in the high school because we don't need it? Or, my thing is, okay, someone answer.
If I could, I'd like
Yeah,
Dr. Alex
please.
to.
Currently, there are 2 media coordinators at the high school.
Right.
What we found is there was a need at the elementary level. 5 years ago, the media coordinators at the elementary level, over 5 years ago, the media coordinators at the elementary level were abolished. And those media coordinators, if they had seniority in the district, got a paraprofessional position in the district. But that was in a reduction in the budget. What we found is at the high school, the current circulation for the year was about 10,000 books. And we can get this information from the Destiny program that we use where students check out books. It's all automated. At Mill Lake School and at Oak Tree School, where our student populations have increased, especially now with Mill Lake, with the redistricting, Mill Lake is picking up even more students next year. So with the circulation being about 10,000 at the high school, at Oak Tree and Mill Lake, the circulation has been over 42,000 at Mill Lake books and over 52,000 books at Oak Tree School. So we found a need for a media coordinator at those 2 schools. So we made the proposal to move a media coordinator from the high school, taking one out of the high school and splitting that person between the 2 schools at the elementary level.
Okay, Mr. Board President, again, this is an uncertified position. This is not a media specialist.
Correct.
For which we need to still look for media specialists. Is that correct? Is there a media specialist at these elementary schools?
Yes.
Can they not do this job?
The problem is in the way that their contract works, they already teach 30 classes, which is their full contract. So there is no time in their day to give them time to reshelve books and check books in.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on board action items A through N? Mr. Milstein?
I just have a question with regards to the adult education with the payments. Now, I know that we just authorized $17,500 to the Director of Adult Education. I'm just trying to, I'm wondering, is this a profitable business, or are we breaking even, and what are we looking for here?
Can I defer to Mr. Gorski? Thank you so much.
Mr. Nostine, that program was reviewed within the last few years, and significant cost reductions were enacted to make the program break even at that time. Another review is probably warranted to make sure that it's still on track, but I believe that the program is supporting itself through the costs of people attending the various programs.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayo?
Action item L, these out-of-district placements for these new, are these, and not out-of-district placements, are these for the full year, or are these only 180 days?
Usually, I'm not sure about these particular students, but out-of-district placements are usually for the 180 days, and then the students are entitled to participate in the extended school year.
Okay, but they would come here for the extended school year, or would they have an extended school year at these facilities?
Well, I think it depends on the facility they're attending and also the student's IEP.
Okay.
And whether they can, attend the school, the district extended school year. I will say, if I can add to that, is recently I toured our district's extended school year, and it was, I think it was, or is, an excellent program, and I got to meet a number of students who were previously out of district, who were brought back into the district, and they seemed to be doing very well. There was one student that is experiencing some physical problems, and the strides that this little girl was making was really heartwarming. Another student who, the student is working on social interactions. And walking through the hallways and into the classrooms and talking to the teachers, you know, the student took time to stop and introduce himself, to say hello. And I was told after the student left that that was part of what the goal was for that student. And that student has made, to stop to make those kind of interactions was just a huge step for that student. So it was really, really nice to see. But to answer your question on that, most of the out-of-district placements are for the school year, and different out-of-school placements have summer programs. I'm not sure if these out-of-district placements do offer extended school year.
Okay. And my other question is, these two schools are nonprofit, but are most of these schools nonprofit that we have students going to? Or are there some profit schools, for-profit schools?
Yeah, I would say, mostly nonprofit. I know there are private schools as well. I mean, there's a range of schools that are throughout the state, and the child study team works in conjunction with the parent to look to see, where the best placement is for a student so to meet his or her needs. And that can range from a public school to a private school.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Dr. Kozak? Okay, do we?
I have to ask for the.
I need a motion to approve board action items A through N.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Ms. Arminio,
Yes.
Mr. Zarneski,
Yes.
Ms. DeMayo,
Yes.
Mr. Nostine,
Yes.
Mr. Prezioso,
Yes.
Mr. Ryback.
Yes.
Mr. Coy.
Yes.
Mr. Board President, board action items A through N passes.
Thank you, Mr. Gorski. Now, your report.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Mr. Board President and members of the Monroe Township Board of Education, it is recommended that board action items A through P be approved by consent roll call.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? I would like a little clarification on, I think it's item O and P. These are both dealing with ROD grant projects.
Yes.
Now, were these ROD grants that we received previously, or are these new grants, Mr. Gorski?
These are previously approved by resolution ROD grants that the state has awarded to the district. And for the district to be able to submit for our 40% reimbursement of costs, the exact language in these resolutions is prescribed by the state of New Jersey. So we need to successfully pass and show evidence of these resolutions before we can submit for cost reimbursement under the ROD grant.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Prezioso?
Mr. President, could I get back to board action K, please? I need to ask a question.
Just 1 second. How about we make that? Mr. Prezioso, if you don't mind, we'll make that part of the other board business later in the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions on, yes? Ms.
Mr.
Arminio?
President, just I don't have a problem with the contract itself, but the Blackboard Connect, is that a notification for the students? The Blackboard Connect services provide alert now notification system. Could you just give me an
Which
explanation?
item is that?
I'm sorry, G. We are on that, aren't we? The contract renewal, it's the old one, page 24.
Mr. Coy?
Yes.
Blackboard Connect Services provides the Alert Now notification system. So that's that inclement weather, cancel school, have to leave early notification system, emergency use system that I'm sure everybody's familiar with.
Right. Should the board, It may not be necessary, but should the board members be on that?
I believe board members are on that grouping, if that's what you're asking, for the phone calls.
I don't think I've ever gotten a phone call.
Because certainly during inclement weather, it's imperative that board members know that schools are closed. And to my knowledge, all the board members were on that listing.
No.
If I could, I can certainly add the board members to that. I've used Alert Now before, and it's just a matter of putting in different groups.
Okay. I mean, I hope it won't cost that, it doesn't cost any more money.
Doesn't cost any more, just be forewarned that those calls come in very early in the morning.
Then we'll have a snow day, and I've always loved the thought of a snow day.
So, if anybody decides at some point that they no longer would like to be on that list at that 4 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. phone call, just let me know, but I can certainly add the board members to that list.
Thank you.
We'll check on that.
Since we're talking about that, does that include situations where a school might be put on a lockdown or those other type of security operations? Yes. Are parents notified of those as they're occurring? Okay.
Well, let me clarify. Are you talking about a drill that
No.
we do? Okay, if it's an actual emergency situation, yes, that should be used to contact parents as well.
Okay, and have we done that in the past?
Yes.
I'll have to defer to, yes.
Okay, and when we have done that, has it created a problem from parents showing up at the school and things of that sort that you're aware of?
I can speak to one recently. We had the police, I guess there was a person wandering around near Mill Lake, Woodland area, and Mr. Ventrilo had sent out the Alert Now. And no, it didn't raise a panic with parents. It just made them aware. Even if a parent showed up at the building, though, and if we were in a shelter in place or a lockdown in the school, the parent is not getting in the school. And then they would be notified. If there was an actual emergency, they would be notified where they could be meet up with their child afterwards.
Thank you.
Just, not to belabor it, but just on that note, would police personnel, in a situation where there's a lockdown, would police personnel be outside?
Yes.
So if the parents did show up, there would be someone to talk to them regarding that sort of thing?
Yeah, and then I had a meeting with our police chief just to go over emergency procedures and as well as our district director of security. And they assured me that in an actual emergency, the police would cordon off certain areas so that no one would be able to come into that area, because they certainly don't want interference if they're responding to an emergency.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, then we'll proceed with the roll call.
Ms. Arminio.
Yes.
Mr. Zarneski.
Yes.
Ms. DeMayo.
Yes.
Mr. Nostine.
Yes.
Mr. Prezioso. Yes. Mr. Ryback.
I have to recuse myself from A. Dr. Weintraub is my orthopedist.
Who's on A? So noted. Thank you. And Mr. Foy.
Yes.
Mr. Board President, board action items A through P passes, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as part of my report, I just have a few comments. First of all, I think you've all received an email from our NJSBA field rep, Gwen Thornton, about completing the board self-evaluation. I think I sent you an email requesting that you please try to get that done by August the 7th. All right, that's still 2 weeks away, so hopefully you can find some time to sit down at the computer and complete that online board evaluation. I would like to inform the public, in case there's anyone who is interested in this information, the deadline for submitting your nominating petition to be on the Board of Education or to run for the Board of Education is this coming Monday, July 27th. You have until that time to get your notarized petition into the county clerk's office in New Brunswick. And one final item, there's been some discussion about our summer retreat. I think you were notified that it was going to be on August, it was on a Saturday, let me just put it that way.
22nd.
August 22nd. And there was a member of the board questioning whether or not we could move that to a weekday, thinking it might be more convenient. And so I would like to ask, just basically get some kind of indication from the members that are present tonight as to whether or not we could have that session on Wednesday, starting sometime late afternoon or early evening, depending
19th,
upon your on that Wednesday of that week, which is the 19th, I believe. Would that pose a problem? In this way, it would free up the Saturday. That meeting is open to the public. We will be discussing the board philosophy, setting parameters for the development of the budget, the school budget for the 2016-17 school year, as well as looking at board goals based on the results of our self-evaluation and district goals. So that's what will be taking place. That is a special meeting of the Board of Education on Wednesday.
19th.
Yes, August the 19th. So I'd like to just hear if you have any comments or questions right now.
Or what time?
I think we're thinking around 5 o'clock.
I was going to say earlier in the day? Okay.
Yes.
That meeting has traditionally been about 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
So in order to have a productive meeting, probably 5 o'clock would be a good early start, assuming all members can make it.
And I don't know if it's convenient for all members, but I would even say at 4 o'clock if we could get started. I don't know if that makes sense or if it's appropriate for everybody, but just throwing it out there.
Okay, anyone else have comments, questions? You think that would be more convenient then for the group? Okay, Ms. Arminio is proposing that maybe we start at 4. That would then put us out around 8 o'clock, keeping our fingers crossed. But I need to know whether or not you're comfortable with starting it at 4 o'clock?
Unless you think it's not good for the public, but traditionally the public doesn't really come. So, I mean, they would be welcome. I would love if more of the public, and they could certainly, since it's going to be a long meeting, they could come in at any time during that meeting, right? Okay.
Should we reach out to the absent members and just solicit, what? Should we reach out to the people, the board members who aren't here, just to see if it works for them too?
I can do so. Yes, Mr. Gorski indicates that he can do that. Okay. Should I proceed with that motion? Okay. I then move that we have a special meeting of the Board of Education on Wednesday, August the 19th at 4 p.m., provided that the members of the board who are not here this evening would be able to make that meeting as well, realizing that with any meeting there will always be someone that may have to be absent.
Second.
Roll call? Okay, roll call, Mr. Gorski?
Ms. Arminio?
Yes.
Mr. Zarneski?
Yes.
Ms. DeMayo?
Yes.
Mr. Melstein?
Yes.
Mr. Prezioso?
Yes.
Mr. Ryback?
Yes.
Mr. Poi?
Yes.
Mr. Board President, motion to schedule a special board meeting on Wednesday, 19th at 4 p.m. for the purposes of the development of the board's budget philosophy, the development of board goals, and the development of district goals for the 16-17 school year passes.
Thank you. At this time, we will engage in any other business that you want to bring forward. Mr. Prezioso, I think you had some question about an item.
Yes, item K, substance abuse. Are we by any chance giving referrals or helping these kids in any way?
Anthony, I'm sorry, what section is it under?
I'm sorry, page 19, letter K.
Okay.
And repeat your question again, Mr. Prezioso?
Are we assisting with referrals or helping the parents in any way to help these kids?
Yeah, I would,
The guidance.
go ahead, Dr. Evans.
Yep, the guidance department at the high school and our student, we have a substance abuse counselor at the high school, work to do that and work with the parents. Our substance abuse counselor also gives training to all staff members every year about identifying students.
Are any of these investigated to see if the drugs were obtained in the school?
I can't speak for these individual cases. Obviously, I wasn't here, but I would say that in any situation that, especially since we have a, director of security, a former police officer, that the police would be involved in any of those cases to investigate whether, in fact, the illegal substances were obtained in the school. But I can't really speak to these particular cases because I wasn't in a district.
But the police is involved?
Dr. Rawitz is saying
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other board business? All right, we will now go to our second public forum. This forum is designed for members of the public to speak any concern or questions that they may have, anything at all. Do we have anyone interested in coming to the microphone? Questions, comments, concerns? Yes. When you come to the microphone, please state your name, address. Keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Brenda Ahrens. I am at 110 Gravel Hill, Spotswood Road, and this is my first Board of Ed meeting. And I am here to speak on behalf of all the children in the district. You saw the 3 that I have here. I'm on the side of special education and regular education. Particularly, my personal reason of being here is the July Sentinel that comes home as a newsletter for the surrounding districts had an article in there referencing sign language filling a requirement for graduation for high schoolers. I have the senator and the assemblywoman with the name and number of the bill that is being set forth for this to happen. I am an advocate for sign language for both regular and special ed on any level of education. And I'm very happy to see that there's information being passed around that, particularly for high school. My son is in special ed in Monroe here in high school. As you can see, he's autistic. He does not speak, and it's very hard for him to communicate. Sign language, I believe, in my heart, is for all ages and abilities of children and adults, and it's a way to communicate. I can see it with him. I can see the changes in him, and I can see how his attention, he's able to tell me how he's feeling and what he wants, basic needs and necessities. Not just because of autistic children, but all different disabilities, the like. And I know he is here, home in district. I believe it should be a choice for language through the state of New Jersey, through the planet as a whole, because it's another way of communicating. And I, as a parent, as a mom, as a teacher, as everybody that I have to be for him and his voice, and the voice of all children, and regular ed as well, for them having more fun and attention and learning from a very early age. I want to request that this please gets looked at, that there is some attention and detail given to it, and it would be very much appreciated.
Thank you. We will refer your request to our curriculum committee, who would typically deal with issues, because that's a curriculum matter.
Okay.
Realize that that does take time, and putting any new program, and please don't misinterpret what I'm saying, but putting any new program into place could take at least a year, because you would have to approve it, get everything in place, get the instructions, your program, the curriculum, everything set. But we will refer that request to the curriculum committee for further investigation.
Thank you for your attention.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, we will then conclude that public forum, and our next special meeting of the Board of Education will be Wednesday, August the 19th at 4 p.m. here at the Media Center of Monroe Township High School. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone want to recuse? Or abstain? All right, then our meeting is closed. Thank you.